Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. Huge shout out to the God of War and Uncharted channel members, and if you enjoyed today's video, please show your support by hitting that like button. So when it comes to major gaming announcements, one name that's always seems to pop up is Hideo Kojima, and right behind him, quite literally, is Geoff Keighley. Their connection over the years has become something of a running theme in the gaming industry. Wherever Kojima appears, it's usually not long before Keighley's involved in some way, shape or form. This unique relationship has led to some major game reveals in the past, and now it looks like we're in for another moment like that. Geoff Keighley recently confirmed on social media that Hideo Kojima will be appearing live on stage during the Summer Game Fest 2025 showcase. Now, Keighley hasn't gone into detail about what Kojima will actually be presenting, but let's be honest, given Kojima's current projects, it's not hard to take a guess. The event is all about game reveals and updates, so the logical assumption is that we're going to see something related to Death Stranding 2. Kojima himself recently mentioned that a launch trailer for Death Stranding 2 is on the way and is expected to drop roughly 1 or 2 weeks before the game's release. The early access release for the game is set for June 24th, so the timeline doesn't perfectly line up with the Summer Game Fest, but it is pretty close. And considering Kojima Productions is currently all in on Death Stranding 2, it seems unlikely that he'll show up to talk about any of his other projects like the mysterious titles OD or Fizzin', at least not right now. I mean, there is a slim chance that he could be there to promote something else, like his podcast. He's been leaning into that side of content lately, but given the timing, fans are betting that we're going to get a fresh look at a Death Stranding 2 launch trailer, possibly deeper gameplay breakdown or a story teaser of some kind. Whatever it turns out to be, it's safe to say that Kojima's presence at the Summer Game Fest means it's something worth paying attention to. He doesn't make random appearances, especially not at events hosted by one of his closest industry friends. So what do you think Kojima has planned? Will it be another mind-bending trailer for Death Stranding 2? Or could he surprise everybody with something totally unexpected? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments and let's move on. Now, MindsEye is due to release in 2 weeks' time, and there is quite a lot of intrigue around the game because it's been created by a former GTA exec in Leslie Benzies and his studio Build a Rocket Boy. The game MindsEye is a brand new narrative-driven action adventure. The game is set in an area called Red Rock, a near-future city built using Unreal Engine 5. And from what I've seen so far, the visuals look pretty decent. It has that hyper-realistic look that Unreal Engine 5 is becoming known for, with dynamic lighting, detailed environments, and fluid character animations. But MindsEye isn't just about how it looks, it's also about how it plays and what it lets you do as a player. At the heart of the game is Jacob Diaz, an ex-soldier living in Red Rock who's haunted by disturbing flashbacks. These aren't just ordinary memories, they're linked to a mysterious neural implant called the MindsEye. As Jacob starts digging into what's causing these visions, he finds himself caught in a deeper conspiracy involving rogue artificial intelligence, corrupt corporations, and military forces operating outside of the law. From the sounds of it, MindsEye will combine heavy narrative elements with open-ended gameplay, offering both a gripping single-player campaign and plenty of additional ways to play the game. Now here's where things get especially interesting. One of the game's biggest selling points is its built-in game creation system. This is a custom tool developed by Build a Rocket Boy that lets players build their own content using assets and systems from MindsEye itself. So whether it's creating brand new missions, custom scenarios, or even mini games, the idea is to give players the power to design and share their own experiences, kind of like a mix between Dreams on PlayStation and modding tools you'd find in Skyrim or GTA 5. And according to the developers, the system is designed to be easy to use, so even for players with no background in game development, they will find it pretty easy to use. It's definitely a big swing and definitely shows that the team wants the game to have long-term staying power. When MindsEye launches in 2 weeks' time on June the 10th, it won't just be a one-and-done release. Build a Rocket Boy already has full post-launch roadmap planned out for the game. The game will release with a strong single-player story and several other gameplay modes, and throughout the year, players can expect seasonal content drops. These updates will include new missions, challenges and game assets for both the core game and the creation tool. There's also a premium pass available for players who want to access exclusive missions and cosmetic content, kind of like what we've seen with season passes in other live service games. This approach seems to strike somewhat of a balance between a traditional single player campaign or story and a live service model we're seeing more of in today's games. There's no doubt MindsEye is generating interest, mainly due to the creator and the studio, but the game actually looks good in the trailer running in the background. The ideas behind the game are ambitious, and the team behind it clearly has some major industry experience. But, and it's a big but, not everything is smooth sailing behind the scenes. Some early previews of the game earlier this year haven't been very enthusiastic. Critics who have had a chance to try it out say that while it looks flashy, some of the actual gameplay elements didn't quite deliver during their demos. Now, it's important to remember the demo versions that those people were playing were probably from earlier builds, and though it's still early, things can improve fast with feedback. Worse still, there's growing concerns about the internal issues at builder Rocket Boy. Recent Glassdoor reviews from current and former employees have started circulating online, and they paint a rough picture of the studio's workplace culture. Some posts accuse the studio of being toxic, mismanaged, and even call out Benzies himself for poor leadership. A few reviewers go so far as to tell other developers to avoid it at all costs. Now, we should always take these kind of reviews with a pinch of salt, especially before launch, but it's worth keeping an eye on as these reviews come out. We've seen other studios with similar problems still manage to release solid games, and for the average player, what matters most is the final product, not necessarily the things that go on behind the scenes. So, what do we make of MindsEye? It's a game with a lot of potential, a rich story set in a futuristic world with the ability to create your own content, and a studio led by a GTA veteran. It all sounds like a recipe for success, but there are some red flags to watch for, including mixed early impressions and reports of a rough workplace culture. Still, come June the 10th, all eyes will be on this release. If MindsEye can live up to the promise of its trailers and deliver something new and meaningful, it might just end up being one of the most talked about games of the year. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you hyped for MindsEye? Do you plan on jumping into the story or maybe trying out the creation tools? And do you think the behind the scenes drama will affect the final product? Let me know your thoughts, and let's move on. Now, EA's special testing group known as Battlefield Labs has been quietly putting the next Battlefield game through its paces, and we've got some pretty good promising performance news with relation to the PlayStation platform. According to recent reports from a playtester who spoke to MP First, the game is already reaching frame rates of around 100 to 110 frames per second on the PlayStation 5 Pro. In some brief moments, the performance dropped into the high 80s, but for the most part, it maintained around 100 FPS, even during heavy action, like when things were blowing up all over the map. Even more impressive though, during the standard infantry combat, the game reportedly hits a steady 120 FPS, which would be a huge leap in smoothness for console players. This isn't official yet, but it sounds like the developers are seriously pushing for high performance on next generation hardware. As for when we'll actually get our hands on the game, EA has already confirmed that the next Battlefield game is scheduled for release by March 2026. There's a good chance we'll see some reveal pretty soon during probably the Summer Game Fest in a couple of months' time. And just as a bonus bit of information, developers have hinted that the campaign will take inspiration from a mix of sources ranging from the American Civil War to even the horror tones of Dead Space. So it sounds like they're trying something a little different this time around, but if early indications are to go by, then it looks like the next Battlefield game is really going to be pushing the PlayStation platform to deliver consistently higher frame rates than what we have been used to on the console platforms, which can only be a good thing, right? Anyway, next up, something that almost feels like a myth at this point. Half-Life 3, the long-rumored sequel, might actually be real. According to a well-known leaker, Daniel RPK, Half-Life 3 is in development and is being positioned as the final entry in the main series. This information was dropped via his latest Patreon update. He didn't give much more detail beyond that, but it's still enough to get fans talking. What's interesting is that this lines up with other recent reports. Earlier this month, a supposed Valve insider claimed that the game is not only in development, but that the game is already fully playable from start to finish. There are even whispers that Valve might officially announce the game sometime this year, but And this is important, nothing has been confirmed yet by Valve themselves. For context, Half-Life 2 came out all the way back in 2004 and is still considered one of the best games of all time. Valve followed it up with Episode 1 in 2006 and Episode 2 in 2007. A third episode was planned, but eventually cancelled, leaving the story unfinished. So if Half-Life 3 is really on the way and is being developed, and especially if it's the final chapter, this would be a huge moment for the series. Well, all I can say is I hope it's true and we get some reveals during the Summer Game Fest. And finally, we have some great news if you plan on picking up a PlayStation 5. Sony is dropping some major deals for its annual Days of Play promotion, which kicks off May 28th and runs through to June the 11th. So if you've been thinking about picking up a PlayStation 5 or some accessories or even some games, now might be the perfect time to dive in. One of the biggest highlights is $50 off the PlayStation 5 Pro. So that's $50, £50, €50 off the Pro via PlayStation Direct and select retailers. Sony is also bundling the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6 game with a PS5 console. You'll be able to get this in either the standard PS5 or the digital-only version, and it's available for around $399 for the digital bundle, and that's a saving of $120 compared to buying the game and the console separately. And those discounts are not limited to just the US. In Europe and in Asia, the PS5 digital edition will start at €399 and £339 depending on your region. Other hardware is also getting a price drop too. This includes the PlayStation VR 2, the PS VR 2 Horizon Call of the Mountain bundle, and various DualSense controllers, including the premium DualSense Edge. Even the Pulse Explore wireless earbuds are on sale, and those will work with the PlayStation 5, the PS VR 2, and the PlayStation Portal. And of course, there are deals on pretty much most first-party PlayStation games. Now, it's worth noting that while Sony hasn't announced these deals, not every regional discount has been confirmed yet. For example, some leaked prices in Europe haven't officially been verified yet, so we'll have to just wait and see for the sale to go live on the 28th to get the full picture. But what I will say is if you've been on the fence about picking up some games, accessories, or even a PlayStation 5, check out the deals on the 28th because it might be your best time to dive in. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments about the content discussed in the video today, and I'll catch you on the next video.